civil engineers in the sheer size of the projects that we're working on, we're usually thinking the big picture. Well, big picture, and then also having to look at the small details as well. But I think sometimes making sure that we go back to that big picture of the overall project, I think helps in terms of that communication and collaboration.
So jumping over to all the different organizations that you are a part of, I know you've been on a number of boards. Can we go through them and see what they're about, what's going on, and what people can get involved in organization-wise from the engineering side?
So the first organization that comes to mind is ASCE, or the American Society of Civil Engineers. For those listening that are not in civil engineering, there are discipline-specific professional societies, regardless of the one that you are in. So like ASME is mechanical engineering, but ASCE was the first organization I joined on campus because they made it really easy, because ASCE membership is free for students. So that was pretty easy. So I got involved with ASCE my first year of college, kind of went through the ranks, and ultimately ended up as vice president by my last year at Drexel. And I'm still involved with ASCE now in a variety of different ways, but one of the ones I'm most proud about is that I'm the current chair of CDL, our Committee on Developing Leaders on the society level, which I get to work with a fantastic team of ASCE members from around the world, working on the different projects that we're working on. So that one's been really, really cool. Another organization that I'm highly involved with is SWE, or Society of Women Engineers. Similar to ASCE, I joined my first year. That was not free for students, but it was still definitely worth the membership price. Held a variety of roles as well. In Drexel SWE, I actually ended up becoming president during my junior into senior year, which was really cool. That was also its own awesomeness, because I think at that time we had a board of like 22 people. So that was a challenge in itself. And like, I learned so much about time management, event planning, so many different things through that role. And then still involved with SWE on the society level, helping with their awards and recognition program. And then also helping, how
does SWE change from the education side to practice side, I'll call it?
Which is really funny, because that was immediately what I was about to go into. SWE has sections at universities, so like they had one at Drexel, but they also have local sections as well. So I'm also part of Philadelphia SWE, and I help them with their social media, which is a kind of nice, more role that I've helped them with for a few years now. And that's just really nice, because then I get to kind of hear what all of the Philadelphia SWE people are doing throughout the time, which is nice. So I'm connected to all of them. But if you don't live local to a local SWE section, they do have MALs, which anyone can join as well. So if you're not local to the one, they will do things that are more like virtual. And then the society has awesome events that they'll also hold in person and virtual.
What's the virtual one called?
Just
MALs?
Variety of events that they'll have. Oh, okay. The MALs, the MALs. But like even on the society level, over the last, I'll say 10 years, the society now has these things called AGs, or affinity groups, kind of like workplace ERGs, that they have on a variety of different identities, LGBTQ+, veterans, first generation, career stages. There are now an early career, mid-career, and a late career stage at AGs that they host in person and virtual events, which is really cool.
Stepping back to like more the student outreach portion from the first organization, are you outreaching to college students, or does that go all the way back to high school students?
My STEM outreach, I call it the K through 12. So I do try to focus on kindergarten or younger, but usually it's kindergarten is that first age that I'm really talking to 12th grade in terms of the STEM outreach I do, which is a great transition into the last organization that I'm part of. It's WTS, or Women's Transportation Seminar, and that's where I've done a lot of my STEM outreach in terms of getting women more excited about the transportation industry, or even just kind of knowing what's in that field. A few years ago, I used to run WTS Philadelphia's Transportation U program, which is a mentoring program for girls ages 13 through 18 who are just interested in the transportation field, and we kind of talk about different parts of transportation that's not all engineering. We need a variety of different backgrounds, which is really cool. On that marketing side, our financial side, so many different things that go into it. But now, as of 2023, so the beginning of this year, I was promoted to WTS Philadelphia Student Outreach Director. So now I oversee the Transportation U program and the leads that run that, as well as our scholarship program and our student chapter, which has been a really cool part of keeping that STEM outreach part of it, which is one of my passions, and getting to do that, where I get to now have more of a larger impact now as the director role.
Yeah, and then is that program like shorter stint, like a summer camp, or is the program longer, like over the full school year?
It is over the school year. Their general cadence is like every other month they have one event. But yeah, they try to match the school year, and then they'll do they'll do some smaller events throughout the year as well. Like, for example, we were recently partnering with the Free Library Philadelphia to do a small little event there, do a hands-on activity with them, and then, talk about what we do as Transportation U, which is kind of cool.
And then how do you manage all of this and your time? Do you have time management techniques that you do? Balancing, delegation? What advice do you have for somebody?
Yeah, a lot of those things, a lot of that all together, I guess, is the better way of that. The first thing is I live by my calendar. If it's not on my calendar, I'm going to forget about it. So making sure that as soon as I know about, that our student chapter is having an event, I put that on my calendar so that I can block that time, or make sure that I don't double book myself, which can, when you're doing so many things, and balancing that. But also just making sure that I keep myself active to-do list of when I have an action that I need to do. But also, as you said, delegating is a very important part of the roles that I have, if I've learned anything, I can't do all of this by myself. Similar to what I do as a civil engineer, I'm not doing this entire design of a bridge by myself. I'm working with a great team that has different strengths that I can lean on those strengths for different things. So definitely the delegating part, but also setting boundaries. We're different divisions, so it's okay. But I don't know if you are a Steelers fan, but I am a Philadelphia Eagles fan. And one of my boundaries is making sure I don't schedule anything during an Eagles game. So it's also things like that, where it's like I still do all of these things, but people know I'm not available during an Eagles game.
Check out the full discussion from this bite of advice here. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on more mentorDINO content.